Well, today, no. But today, it's not even by going to, we need to talk about anxiety because there's a lot of it about. And it's not just, in the UK, globally, economically, socially, spiritually, emotionally, in every way. Where is there not anxiety at the moment? And a lot of grief as well. It's people are dying, people are ill, people are grieving, people are out of control. So many people have planned for their futures and planned this, that, and the other, and no one knows what's going to happen in the world. Who's not anxious apart from those in denial? And maybe even the 1% are anxious because they're scared of losing their place with the 1%. There's a lot of it about.
Welcome to Men Speak Radio. I'm Bertie.
And I'm Kenny.
And today we talked about how to cope with anxiety. So a few of the stuff we went into. What did we go into?
We went into loads of different things, loads of tips and techniques of how to cope with anxiety. So no excuses. It's not run away from. It's use one of these things and leave a comment if there's anything we've missed out on or anything that you could add. That would be really, really helpful because we're in it globally. We are in it together. And I think we're going to be in anxious land for a while. So let's help each other out, eh?
Yeah. And all the marketing people tell us that we have to say to subscribe and click the bell and do that. So how do you cope with it?
How do I cope with it? I think the first thing that I do is I accept it, because if I run away from anxiety, then anxiety is going to chase me. And if I pretend it's not going on, then I'm spending so much energy pushing it down that I'm actually feeding it. If I eat a lot, so I'm not digesting my feelings and I'm digesting food, then I'm probably going to be eating and digesting the anxiety and then feeling anxious that one day when I'm allowed out into the world again, as happened a few months ago, I'll be so fat that none of my pants will fit me, pants meaning trousers, not undies, and that will bring anxiety. So for me, the first step has got to be to know what I'm feeling and accept what's going on, because otherwise I'm just in denial and playing a game. Over to you. How do you deal with it?
I feel a little bit, what's the word? I don't know, not qualified to answer the question, because I have somehow managed to craft a very nice bubble for myself where I don't have to read the news and I don't really, interact with people who are, like with my job and everything. I just don't have to think about, COVID. So, it's very different, it seems, from most people. Like, one of my friends who he's around it because that's his job, his job. Like, he overhears everyone talking about, how scared they are and the latest, updates with the virus and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't, it's not in my world. So
I think that's a brilliant way of dealing with anxiety. And that's not denial. That is boundaries and responsibility for your space. Sounds like a good bubble to me. And I guess in a way, I'm similar in that I don't listen to the news. I'm generally in front of Zoom with people. And I love being with people. I don't doom scroll. In fact, I don't scroll a lot. And I notice, because I do check my Facebook and a couple of other things every day, because I've got messages and clients and things like that. And it gets me. Before I know it, my two fingers are doing that and I'm being seduced into something stupid. And then I catch myself and I go. So I think well managed that you have got these boundaries and you're keeping your space clear. And I think that's really important for those who are sensitive. It's like, well, accept it and do something about it rather than making yourself vulnerable that way.
I wouldn't have been
And
able to do
that,
that without your thing of like the acceptance though. For me, like, because I remember at the beginning I did used to be like a doom scrolling or whatever you called it. It's because I was, trying to figure out, what's the solution, what's the answer, how, and yeah, and since accepting that right now I'm gonna be inside my flat and there's things that I can't do. That has made things a lot easier, and also just accepting that it's probably going to be, you know, somewhat locked down until spring, or I'm prepared to go till like summer or the end of the year. It's just someone just tell me when it's over, and then that's it. Like I'll just do what I can do at the moment.
you brought up one of my first little techniques that turned my life around, because what you said is going into your head. And I'd say so many people naturally, especially young male, kind of boy behavior, irrespective of age, is go in the head and fix it. Where for me, a more mature male or person behavior is be aware of it, accept it, and then respond to it rather than react to it. Stay present, and respond rather than going into the head, coming from fear and react. So do you want to, you did a thank you for reminding me who I used to be thing, because how many millions of times have I said that? It would be nice to hear it. Go on, if you fancy.
So yeah, it's when I notice that I'm getting anxious about something, or just losing myself in something, is just stopping, taking a big deep breath, and saying to myself, like out loud or in my head, thank you for reminding me of who I used to be, and then engaging with something real and something in the present, and ideally something that brings me alive rather than brings me kind of fear and paranoia.
And who I used to be was a second guesser, a fixer, a fantasizer. I'd fantasize things that I need to fix, and a survivor. And that my survival cost me my life. It cost me my living. In the past, the reason it's thank you for reminding me who I used to be is in the past I did need to survive, and I did need to second guess, and I did need to be sensitive, but those wars are over now. So rather than getting in my head and looking for trouble to fix, and even if there isn't any, making up trouble to fix, I'm out of my head and in my body. And when I'm out of my head, I'm breathing and I'm present and I'm able to respond. I'm here and now. If I'm not here and now, then I'm just, a lonesome piece of clothing flying around the tumble dryer, not knowing which way is up. And, that's not very safe. It's better to be solid. So thank you for my protector, for my survival, for reminding me who I used to be. And I still need to be safe, but my safety is not going to cost me my life. And now I'm safe and I'm here and now in this moment, I can respond and I can be very conscious of what it is I give my energy to. So I'm growing what's real rather than surviving my own fears and fantasies. Another one I think that we both do very, very well and have been from way before lockdown is speaking with people. Um, in your life, especially considering you've got this lovely golden crystal ball orb of a bubble, who do you know to speak to, and when do you decide to connect with other people to relieve your anxiety? How does that part work?
I don't know. Generally, I speak to most of my friends are in a similar position, so um, I'm quite lucky in that I could just talk to my friends, or I do go to the check-in groups. I'm going like loads at the moment, most of them during the week, so they're a great place for me as well. Um, yeah, because people aren't. There's definitely something I've learned about people being kind of responsible or irresponsible with their emotions, and when someone's irresponsible with their emotions around me, which kind of means that they're looking I don't know, it's like they don't take ownership of their emotions, and they're just spilling them out, and it's kind of like looking for someone else to fix it for them. um, when someone's irresponsible uh, with their emotions around me, I can pick it up. So
Do you mean when they want you to fix something for them?
it could be, or it could just be they're just panicking like a headless chicken, and not not taking responsibility for their own groundedness and calmness.
Mm,
Just expecting someone else to fix it.
mm. I guess mine's similar in that most days I'm in the check-in groups, and I like that we break them into smaller rooms. So check-in groups, mensgroups.co.uk, and every day between 12:30 and 1:30 we've got groups where people check in, and on a Sunday 10:30 to 11:30, and it's just checking in with what's going on, listening to each other and speaking it out. And that's great. And sometimes it's deep and heavy. Sometimes it's absolutely hilarious. Well, actually, it's both within an hour and everything else. And those are great. Most days I'm there, and we break into smaller rooms so there's enough space for people. And I've got, I guess, different friends for different things. Not that I have that much. We don't have a lot of time to speak with each other because people are busy. And there are some people who I just laugh with and talk rubbish and debrief it and bitch about things. And it just comes out because finally we can kick back and be us beyond all of these dramas. And then I've got, I guess, my parents who were really good company, and a space to talk about the past and what's going on. And, it's just a different flavor of company. Or friends abroad, what's happening in their country, or with my goddaughter, or it's just different parts for different people. And if someone needs to debrief or whinge or dump or whatever, then I'm kind of okay for them to do it because it needs to come out, as long as that's not what the relationship's about. Because once it's out and once it can pass, then it's like pressing reset, where we're able to meet life again. I guess same with the check-ins. Once it's spoken out, once it's named, in whatever way, it's not you shouldn't talk like this, or that's tempting fate, or how can you be so happy when people are sad. It just needs to come out. It needs to pass. And it's like a good cry, and then it's gone, and it feels, what a relief. Now I can get on with things. Is it the same for you?
Yeah.
And for the vamps, can't be asked. I'm just not going to be dragged down by people who express relationship by dragging people down and being a victim club. I'm over it. And I'm sure they've got lots of victims to be in their club with, but there are people who are very sad and very troubled in my life, but they're not victims. They're going through something real. And I think everyone can go through a certain amount of victimhood, so to speak. Could say I'm a victim to the winter at the moment, and I don't go out a lot. But it's not a bully towards me. Things pass. There are nice days to go out for a walk. But yeah, badness is allowed, goodness is allowed, fear is allowed, bitchiness is allowed. Better out than in.
Yeah.
Was that a reference to something else? So how else do we deal with anxiety? How do people around you not deal with anxiety? How not to do? How's that for a question?
Maybe being attached to anything, which might be the same as not accepting. But if I'm kind of attached to how things turn out, it's like the virus is going to be gone by next week. That's kind of just setting myself up for, if it does happen, great. But if it doesn't happen, then I'm going to feel a lot of anxiety. I'm going to feel a lot of very negative emotions.
I so hear that. I used to be attached to how things should be and how they should get to the place of how they should be. And my whole life was trauma, drama, let down. It was messy. It was seriously, seriously messy. So yeah, accepting what is.
Yeah.
And as I am not attached to how things might be, I can come up with a plan B and a plan C rather than just hoping to be saved by the outcome, the only outcome that I want. So that's good adult management.
Yeah. And also reminds me of something. So one of my friends recently, he kind of got very overwhelmed at one point, and he said something like, all this positive thinking was, you know, a load of bollocks, and you know, everything's gone to shit and all of that. And I don't know, I've just been really thinking about what he said, and I think I wondered, I didn't ask him this, but I wondered where he was, you know, coming from when he was doing this positive thinking. Because what the stuff we're saying, probably someone's looking at us going, oh, that's the positive thinking bullshit. And I mean, it is positive thinking, because I do tend to just focus on the good stuff, and I'm quite optimistic. But there's no, I'm not putting any I'm not, that's not like a bargaining tool so that things get better. And also it's not, I'm not doing it, what's the word, it kind of felt like my friend was, you know, proving himself right. um you know, that he probably had it in a niggling thing at the back of his mind, like, I'm doing this positive thinking stuff, but it's all going to go to shit um one day. And when issues did come up, then he was like, oh well, it's, you know, waste of time, all this positive thinking.
You're reminding me of another one of my cheap lines: giving energy to what you want to grow rather than what you want to go. And I want to grow the goodness, so I'll feed that energy rather than worrying about what I don't want and feeding that energy. But, or and, I'm not going to deny so-called bad things that might happen. I need to be aware of them and accept them, and be real about things rather than run away. So I think it's really good to have, and for me, I like to speak things out, and I need to be met, not just think them out. And you know, journal is not enough. Not that I've ever written a journal, but when I hang out with my friends, we talk about um, the dark and heavies, the fears, because they need to be named. And it's so much better to talk it out than to hold it or deny it and letting it fester, and to be met there. Same in the groups, not just the fears, but the nasty facts that are taking place. You know, it's two blokes that I can think of off the top of my head, have shown up saying my father died. And God knows how many others have showed up saying someone is dying, or my wife has left or is leaving me, or, you know, all of these things. It's like before, during, and after, these things need to be named. And it's good to hear from other people how they've managed this, and to be informed and to meet real life, good, bad, and ugly, consciously. So yeah, there's positive thinking, and I think that's after reality has been accepted. There are very basic things as well. Let's see if we could do 7 off the tops of our heads. Move, preferably to Manu Chao, Earth, Wind and Fire, Boogie Wonderland, you know, but stick on some music and move. Wash, good bath, good shower, whatever it takes, just to wash that stuff off that's been carrying or festering or crusting or lack of movement or holding. And also in the shower zone, which is different to the bath zone, there's a space, there's a certain, I don't know, it's like a dream state, or there's a space where where it's a different kind of headspace or a shock space. If the water's blasted on cold, then this kind of whatever's being held onto can be shocked out. And that's brilliant. A really important one for me that I didn't realize until I've met people that have lost far too many teeth is brush your teeth and floss properly, because people who are scared or depressed, etc., can really neglect self-care. Then comes gum disease, then comes no teeth, and it's not a great look. And I've been told that false teeth are horrible because food gets, you don't want to go into false teeth land. And how much of the implants, like $2.5 grand of popples? Take care of your teeth. Move, and you know, there's the dancing, could be exercise, could be stretching, but moving, tidying the flat, tidying the house, getting rid of who you no longer are, but you know, taking care of the environment and then being a product of the environment, rather than hating both inner and outer environments and wanting to be saved. Add some to that. What else would you say?
Sleep. So making sure you get enough sleep, and I've heard a lot of people have needed to take naps, you know, over this lockdown, including me. So even if you think you're getting enough sleep, just 20 minutes on the sofa for a nap, watching what I do. What else?
Boundaries to get space. Some people are home with the kids that they didn't know too well because they were either in boarding school or in school, or you know, mother or father was at work or whatever it was. And then there are the partners or extended family, and it can be quite a frenzy, and people can really want attention all the time, especially if it's daddy, 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 daddy phase of childhood. But even if it's quietly in a room, or going for a walk, or lock the door of the toilet and wear headphones, anything to get some space to exist and then extend to other people, rather than just being one big mush with everyone else's needs in the frenzy.
Yeah, I suppose basic needs: eat well, eat regularly. I need to eat 4 meals a day, so that's it's a lot. But yeah, and I do notice it if I'm eating crap, if I'm eating sugar or anything with just added chemicals and stuff, which I don't know what they mean. And you know, I read the ingredients list and I can't picture what's on the ingredients, like sunflower, soy, lettuce, and it's like, what's that? And I can notice it when I eat that kind of stuff, the processed stuff.
So are you saying stay away from stimulants, coffee, sugar, carbs, stimulants in food?
If you're sensitive to it, yeah, or just be aware and I don't know, take care. Yeah, it's self-care, isn't it?
And with the sleep thing, anything to say on, so nice, this sounds like I'm consulting you like you're an expert. What would you say, Kahil Gibran, on sleep? Talk to me about insomnia.
I don't know, like what, I guess like turning off LED screens, and or at least getting something like on your computer, you can get Flux or Iris is what I use, for kind of dims the screen and turns off the blue light. So making sure the lights are turned off at like 9ish.
That's a really good point. I'll show you. This, isn't it lovely, is what I bought for my wife. Mine's not in the room, otherwise I'd show you mine. But at 9:30 or by 9:30, electric lights off, and it's like wee willy winky time, candles, and it's such a nice atmosphere. and our bodies know that we're winding down, it's sleepy time, and we kind of don't want to be doing stuff so much, or don't want screens so much, or if we do, it's something mellow, but it's changing gear. It's really changing gear. And a lot of people say, like, sleep rituals, and it could be smells, it could be light, it could be music, it could be stopping doing certain things at a certain time. But I wonder what people's sleep rituals are. It could be, for example, I used to spray lavender in our bedroom, and it was like, now we know. God, I haven't done that for a long time. I'll surprise her and do that. She'll love me. Now we know it's sleepy time, and it's sacred time, and it's wind down time. Take the clutter out of the bedroom, or cover it if it can't be taken. Some people have their computers and things in the bedroom. Fine, cover it so it doesn't exist. Lift the cover, work time, put the cover down, chill time. But things like that with boundaries, I guess, spatial and emotional and environmental boundaries. Yeah, and insomnia, it's a tough one. And so much of it, not by any means with everyone, but so much of it I've found recently is worrying, trying to fix things, fantasize and fix. And if things can't stop in the head, write them out, speak them out, record them, shout them out, or dance them out, write them out, read them while you're dancing, and then take it seriously. But you know, maybe it's a changed perspective on these things. What about, oh, isn't there a thing with magnesium as well? Is it magnesium oil or magnesium on the feet or magnesium tablets? Or I'm not an expert in this.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it's magnesium spray. You spray that all over your body before bed. I tried it for a bit of this. That's a proper hassle. But apparently you can combine it with something to make it easier, like olive oil. I don't know. But actually, you got me started a bit because I used to have insomnia, so I find it really interesting. One of the biggest things for me was kind of only lying in bed, you know, for only using bed for sleep, you know, and if I'm not sleeping,
Nice one.
then immediately getting up, no matter how tired I am or how much I want to stay in bed. It's like, if I'm not sleeping, just get up, go and do something that's ideally not with a computer, so like organizing stuff or cleaning. And yeah, if possible, separating, you know, the bedroom, only going into the bedroom for sleep, you know, so if you can move the computer out, and because it's just like training your mind to associate going into the bedroom with going to sleep, rather than going to the bedroom is, you know, work and worries and lying in bed worrying instead of sleeping.
Yeah. With that, change the bed sheets and wash them blank sheet, rather than I have been festering in this space for a long time, and then I'm going back into my festering space. And it might be, this is from the old feng shui days, I guess, as if your bed is raised and you're not on a futon or whatever, then, and if there's nowhere else to put your stuff, move it out, have a good clean under there, and then if you have to, put it back. But they say that the energy goes down through the bed. So if it does go down through the bed, clear it up. I'm not one to be overly energetic, as you know, but try anything, eh? How did you get over your insomnia?
Pretty much those things that I mentioned. So, you know, a big one was not trying to power through sleeplessness, you know, sitting there like in my bed, like waiting till I fell asleep, you know. Instead I'd just get up and just go do something else until I actually felt tired. So only going to bed when I felt tired was a big one.
When you got up, what did you do?
Like
Was
I
it
said,
like,
went and like cleaned something. I think I had puzzles and stuff that I did for a bit.
so make something nice out of the space rather than it being the enemy?
Yeah, it's where I learned a lot of the guitar. Actually, I'd play guitar, so stuff like that. Anything not using screens, basically.
Mm. Two things cross my mind that have been up recently with people I work with. One of them is extreme anxiety, where I think I'm going to have a heart attack type thing. And then it has been deep breaths, lie down and have very deep breaths, and just, what's this vagus nerve thing? Is it when you breathe out and you go, type thing? Do you know? I think that stimulates the vagus nerve, if I remember, where you're breathing out of your mouth. But from what I understand, it's the mouth breathing that's more grounding. So it's like properly into the body and long breaths out. The other thing that's been, as you can tell, I'm not an expert on, a jack of lots of trades. Another thing that's very, very disturbing is there are a few people that I've spoken with who are hearing real hassles from the next door neighbors, from their neighbors, like rows, shouting, domestic violence type stuff. And it's like, how on earth do you survive and deal with that? And I know we're moving into different territory. And with some people, the insomnia is, I'm waiting for something to kick off, or I'm waiting to wake up and not be able to sleep. I'm waiting for the neighbors to kick off. I can't sleep because of the concern. I'm waiting, I'm waiting for it to start or to stop, or one of my neighbors to call the police, because I'm scared of calling the police because then maybe they'll be harmed more, or I'll be, there's so many thoughts around this. But I wonder, and obviously it's both lashing out with domestic violence, even if it's just shouting or withdrawing, passive aggression, or it's heavy stuff, and it's up at the moment. And the same with lashing in and self-harming, which could be overeating or over drinking or over drugging, or just like self-loathing thoughts and feelings. You leave alone the cussing and the starving, and it's heavy and it's going on. And I would say these things are not going to pass, but they need addressing. And it might not be calling the police, but speak to someone, speak to a neighbor, call the police if you want to, if you need to. But people need to be safe. And it's not about this is a good person, this is a bad person. It's people in pain, people in trouble, people in trauma, people who have been abused, and so it goes on. So somehow someone needs to draw a line and something needs to happen. But yeah, I really went off on one there, and that is a really delicate, dodgy situation. And I've never had so many conversations about it in my life. It's really happening. Hardly surprising the way that we're all locked up, really, and people are in pain and fear. And it's both ways. No way am I saying nasty men and victim women, or bad kids or whatever. It's like people react and respond in dodgy ways. That's their behavior. People need help.
Yeah.
Isn't there a thing about breathing into a paper bag? Because then you can see it fill with breath, and you know you're breathing out, and then empty it. But what have we missed? That's quite well done, actually, isn't it? We've come up with quite a lot. Maybe it's easy for us because I'm not on the edge at the moment. I'm doing very well. And you seem to be doing very well. Well, maybe that's why we're having this conversation, because if we were stuffed, we shouldn't be saying diddly.
Yeah, I mean, I also thought about like at our closed group, like only a couple of days ago, like I was feeling a lot of anxiety then, actually,
Mm.
and that is still something I've not heard anyone talk about, which is like anxiety after intense exercise, um, which maybe I'm the only person in the world that gets it, but I did like a kickboxing class online, and it was just so intense. Um, and afterwards, I felt kind of, yeah, I felt anxious. I had kind of like racing thoughts and kind of restless and finding it hard to concentrate. And um, also, I felt a bit kind of feverish. It's really strange. So yeah, I still do get it, but it did help when I named it, like during our group, like how I was feeling, and just to know that other people know how I'm feeling, somehow takes the pressure off, and,
You're not
and then I
alone.
can just, yeah, and then I can just feel it. And
I wonder whether with exercise these days, it could be from doing nothing apart from staring at a screen to suddenly doing something. And it's quite jarring to suddenly have energy. And then how do you slowly land? Even after yoga, they do, what do they call it? Shavasana, where you lie there and you kind of like get yourself together again. And I also wonder whether kickboxing, even if it's online and no one's going to kick you in the chops, whether it's still adrenaline. And a lot of blokes, whether they're fighters or not, if someone shouts or if something's going on or they're near a fight or near a rugby pitch or whatever, then the adrenaline just naturally kicks in. And then how does that wind down? And maybe before you'd be in a room kickboxing together and at least you can talk, and then you walk to the station or you drive home or whatever, and there's a place, rather than click, zoom off. Now what do I do with myself? Do you know what I mean? God, I look really weird then. That was really unsightly. I scare myself. My God, the way I judge the way I look on Zoom. God, apparently dentists have got a roaring trade since Zoom because everyone judges their teeth. And so many people grind their teeth at night. So many people since lockdown are grinding their faces away. So, you know, buy one of those bits and save yourself some teeth. What do you call, you know, those plastic things that were mouth guards or whatever. Now my friends are going to take the piss because I said plastic instead of plastic.
you said pants as well.
Pants. Chill out and hang out is surely the way to pull the plug. And even just doing it with you now. And in essence, maybe we should be uptight because we didn't prepare and write our lists. But to be sharing this task of coming up with what to do to manage anxiety and to sit with it rather than battle with it, it's actually easy and fun. So yeah, maybe it's a shift in attitude, eh?
Yeah, yeah, and I definitely like, you're right. Like for me, the more I don't know, I have really good hanging out time with friends. You know, shooting the shit, taking the piss, and banter, and just being silly. The better I'd feel generally. The less kind of internal pressure. Like me and some friends played. There's this app you can download called Psych, and it's just brilliant. Like, you know, there's like a few of you in a room, and it will say like, what's Bertie got hidden in his pocket? And then everyone else has to write an answer, and like the best answer wins. So you can, it gets quite rude.
Sounds like shit to me. Is that it? And it works.
Yeah, there's different games as well. There's like also like, it will show you a word and you have to write down the definition of the word and see if you can trick your friends into
I guess it's about who you're hanging out with and the mood you're in rather than the quality of the game, isn't it? Something to focus on.
Yeah.
Do you know what we haven't? No, we have. I used to, my wife and I can follow each other around the house. She opens the windows, I close the windows, and we just do that all day. And she's right. I've given up because the thing is, you know, we can be at home and not air the room. And she's so right that every now and again, I'll leave whether it's 10 minutes or an hour, open all the windows and just change the air. Such a relief to just do a simple thing like change the air. I forget to do it. It's more like, heat, cold, do, would it, it's all that. Change the air. And even, strange though it may sound, clean the windows and clean the mirrors, because then it can see out. It's not limited here, it's way out there. And in the mirror, it's like trying to see something beyond the marks on the mirror. There's not enough space to see me. It's like something as simple as that makes the world of difference. I think we've done pretty well. Clutching at straws, clean the windows and mirrors. We've squeezed this one, and I'm sure people are going to say, "Oh, you should have said this. You should have said that." Yeah, well, you do it.
One last one. Make it easy to do the stuff that calms you down. So for me, I leave my wellies like just outside the front door. So that means that I don't. Otherwise, I have to like store them in a plastic bag in my flat because they're just so dirty. But it just means I can get into my wellies really easy and just go out like no matter what the weather. And yeah, walking is obviously like just core need for staying calm and sane for me.
Oh God, there was one more I just thought of that's really important. Damn, it was something on the lines of, it's gone. I'll probably leave it in the comments.
Yeah.
What was it? You and your wellies. I think we didn't even do 2 minutes, but don't know what we're doing. Who needs 2 minutes and a bell? I guess, isn't that the obvious one? Bit of meditation. Before all our groups, before all my clients, before most of pretty much all my meetings, I ring my bell. I'm sure people know my bell by now. 2 minutes to start and end, and just 2 minutes of letting all that stuff that's going on in my head, watch it go by, and getting here and now just makes the world of difference. Some people have their routines of I wake up at this time and I have my cold shower, then I do my omming or my meditation, and then I do my yoga, and then I do this. And if their routine is broken, then they're stuffed for the day. And if you've got a routine that works, then stick with it. Don't just think, oh, no, shit's flying right now. I'm not going to do my routine. I'll get back to it. That's when you need to do it the most. So there's the usual practices and meditation and morning pages and writing your journal, whatever has worked, do more of that, knowing that all things will pass. Give me an amen.